All right, pretend that I am Morpheus right now, and you can take the blue pill or the red pill. And I know it's probably hard because I'm a short white girl, and he's a badass black dude. But blue pill, you get to eliminate whatever, take the pill, and tomorrow you wake up and you have no pain and no recollection of where it started or what happened, and you can go about your life, right? Or you can take the red pill and you can actually gain spiritual capacities or superpowers by going all the way down the rabbit hole and finding out a whole lot more about yourself and how the world works than you ever thought possible. And it's going to be a bit of a ride. Which would you pick? Yes, you can eliminate your pain pretty quickly, and I could help you do that. And I've actually built this channel on pain relief, so what I'm about to say might come as a bit of a surprise. Oh, and this is Alicia, of course, with Mobility Mastery. But I actually call myself a pain advocate, and I really am on a mission to befriend pain for the world, for myself, and then with you and with the world, and get us turning towards our pain more often, with more intimacy, with more invitation for that side of our human existence to have its say in our evolution and in our growth and in our life experiences. Because I actually have this theory that if we don't dismiss pain the way we do, we will actually have less of it. And that's not really the reason, but it's a side effect that I find quite nice. But I truly believe that in my life anyway, pain has been my greatest teacher. It has taught me the most about myself, about humanity, about psychology, about spiritual and personal development, about my capacities, what I'm made of, right? And if I had not turned toward that pain and actually invited it to talk to me and to have its rightful place in my life, I wouldn't even be here talking to you. And honestly, like, I might have actually killed myself, or I don't know. I had a lot of pain in my life on multiple levels. So right now I want to talk to you about how you can actually grow your spiritual capacities by confronting your pain, by turning towards it instead of away from it. And so right up front, I'm trying to be a little funny, but I know I'm a super dork with the Morpheus thing. But for real, like, you have a choice. You are a free being, and you can decide that you just want your pain gone, and you can probably get it gone. Or you can choose to go the route of actually becoming more of a superhero, a superhuman, by turning towards the pain and letting it be your guide right now. So if you're actually watching this video and you currently have pain of some kind, well, this is for you, and I hope it's useful. So I want to start by just asking, like, what has your attention the most right now? Because I'm pretty sure all of us at any given time have a mix of some physical discomfort, even if it's not outright pain, or some emotional discomfort, even if it's not like huge traumas, or some spiritual pain. So first, let me kind of define these for you, what I mean by asking you this question. To me, physical pain would be, like, I had knee pain for a long time, and I'm going to use that story as an example here, but physical pain could be an injury. Probably would also include it in, like, digestive issues, a lot of physical tension, myofascial pain syndrome, right? Anything that's manifesting in your physical body that feels painful to any degree, even if it's discomfort and it's not necessarily like, life-threatening pain, or you feel like, it's sharp stabbing, or you're gonna, I don't know, maybe it's not even preventing you from doing something, but if it's pain of any sort and it's physical, it would fall into that category. Emotional pain, of course, has to do with our emotions, but I would also include here psychological pain, because the psyche and the emotions are super connected. We can't really disconnect them. And of course, all three of these are always overlapping and interconnected. And then spiritual pain to me falls a bit more in the category of I don't know what my purpose is in life, or I don't, my life doesn't feel meaningful. I have a sense of, I'm like nothing, I don't feel fulfilled, or nothing's satisfying to me, or just a sense of unease in your life that maybe isn't related, that you can figure out, to emotional or psychological pain or physical pain. And of course, then there's like the gray areas where they kind of start to overlap, like spiritual pain and maybe psychological pain, such as you don't trust yourself or you don't trust other people. That might be an area where that's kind of overlapping. But I think hopefully this is making sense and it's pretty clear what these buckets are. So, I want to know what is getting your attention the most so I can help you with it and help you actually start to gain those superpowers that I'm talking about while you pursue, freeing yourself from the pain. So if you're willing, would you please share below the video what pain has your attention the most right now? Is it physical, emotional / psychological, or spiritual? And then I also want you to ask yourself, and if you want to share this publicly in the comments below, awesome, I will come talk to you. I will do my best to keep this a safe space and keep anyone from saying anything not nice here. But if you're willing to share, or at least on your own, maybe do some journaling or some thinking, like what's the story or the meaning that you're assigning to this pain? So the reason this feels important to me is because that meaning you're giving it, or the story you're making up about it, likely indicates a mirror reflection of some of the other sides of things. If it's physical pain, for instance, it may indicate the mirroring of emotional or spiritual pain that is actually related to your physical pain, and the superpowers you could gain if you were to actually turn towards it instead of just wanting it gone. So the story that I'm using with myself is my knee pain, because it got my attention really loudly. First when I was 17 while running, and then when I was hiking, and I eventually couldn't hike or run for 6 and 8 years respectively. I would try and continuously experience this like debilitating knife-like pain in my kneecaps that buckled me, buckled me as I walked and nearly took me to the ground. And the story or meaning that I kind of assigned to this pain is I feel trapped in the body. I don't understand, like, why is it giving me this pain? I feel helpless. I am afraid I'm never going to hike or run again. And if I can't run or hike again, then I'm afraid I'll never be happy. There's like a lot of story that I told myself around this. And at the same time, I was actually telling myself, you better not run or hike again, or you won't even be able to work out in a gym. So just forget about those activities. So I allowed the story I was telling myself to shrink my world when I was 24, and it, shrunk to the size of a fluorescent lit gym and an elliptical trainer, because I could no longer run or hike. However, I still could work out, which was really important to me. And when I actually turned towards the pain instead of just wanting it gone, like for 8 years, I just wanted it gone, but I would pretend that maybe it magically disappeared and I would be able to hike one day. And so I would continuously test it, every once in a while, but it was always there when I tested it, until I actually turned towards the pain in a new way and allowed myself to learn from my body and from that pain. And it sent me on the journey that I'm still on right now, and it's the reason I'm talking to you. So my pain actually sent me on a journey. It was quite physical. So while I do want you to go into this story and meaning, because it is going to foreshadow for you some of the superpowers you might gain by actually turning towards it, when you take action, you're going to start with what has your attention. So for me, for example, it was simply knee pain. Like, that's as simple as it got. It wasn't some big metaphorical thing for me. When I actually tried to heal my knees, it was not an attempt to heal deeper traumas. It wasn't an attempt to find purpose in my life. I just wanted to hike and run again. Like that, I believed it was as simple as that. And looking back now, I know it wasn't. So I am teaching you this out of a lot of hindsight and teachings that I've gotten from my body and about life in general from a lot of years of looking back on this. But once I healed my knees, the world opened up to me, and all those things before that I felt, one of which might have even have included, I feel victimized by my circumstances. I feel victimized by something I didn't choose. Like I didn't do this to myself. I didn't choose knee pain. And I have a hard time with victim mentality, but this might be like the one place where I would insert it, is it probably showed up for me in the story I was assigning to that pain. When I healed my knees and actually started learning about my body and pain and why pain happens and how to address it at the root cause or at the root level, I got to earn for myself. I wasn't just gifted. I feel like I earned it on some level and was also gifted something back that felt like grace, that had nothing to do with me, but I earned courage. I earned some wisdom. I earned the freedom I now felt, and I got to experience something I think few people on this planet do, which is I went so deep into the pain cave, in a sense. Like, it may look different than other people. Like, when I say pain cave, I instantly think of David Goggins, and I don't know if you're aware of him. So it's not that kind of pain that I'm talking about running 100 miles and then being with the pain, but I did it in my own way. But I made pain such an intimate friend of mine that it no longer scared me at all. So my pain didn't scare me, and other people's pain no longer scared me. And this has been like the greatest blessing of my life. So it's not only gave me what felt like to me a superpower in my own life, like how I orient to my body and my life with having no real fear of pain, physical pain. But it's allowed me to do what I'm doing right now, and to have a private practice that was really successful, helping other people eliminate their fear of their own pain and helping them get out of pain and teaching them about their body. So my process in my private practice is actually very similar to here. I don't work well with people who don't want to learn about their body and they just want the pain gone. So I'm huge on education. And all of that I know is there because I actually turned towards the pain in a different way than just wanting it gone. So for instance, you can use any of the techniques here on Mobility Mastery to probably eliminate a lot of pain head to toe, and it may very well work for you. But if you don't at the same time welcome that pain and try to make it your teacher, then you may not get the superpowers I'm talking about. So what I'm actually addressing in this video is very different than simply trying to get rid of the pain, even if you're doing it at the root cause level. That hopefully is like your last course of action, and it's going to work really fast for you because you've done all this like prep work to get there in a really holistic, way. So for me, the story that I just gave, it was very physical pain, but it had this other component to it. So whatever yours is right now, maybe it's emotional pain, and maybe there's a physical story there. I don't know. So the story, though, that you assign to that pain can paint a picture for you of its mirror in, the other ones that I've listed here, as well as the capacities you're going to grow through turning towards the pain. So it feels like a really important part of this process. And then, of course, you're going to take some action. And I left that blank just for a little bit of anticipation here. But the action you're going to take, it's a big general one that I'm going to name here, and then I do want to give you some ideas for it. But that action is, I've actually already said it in this video. Give me just a second here. You can probably guess at this point. Boom. Make the pain you're feeling right now your teacher. And so I know that sounds pretty general and maybe somewhat metaphysical and woo-woo, but I mean this in actually a quite literal sense. With me, what helped me from the physical side of things, making that physical pain I was feeling my teacher, is I was on a quest to understand fully how and why pain happens in the body. What is the cause of pain in the body? Not just mine, but all bodies, because, like we share the same, makeup, essentially. And how can I create such a deep understanding of physical pain that I know how to deal with it from now to the day I die. That was my quest. And you don't have to make it like, your life mission or your next career. Maybe you want to, I don't know. A lot of my students currently are here actually because I think that they would relate to that. But you don't have to. You will, however, have to invest some time, attention, energy into learning and being a student of whatever pain you're encountering. So if it is physical pain like me, then I highly encourage you to study physiology, to study neuroscience, and to study what causes pain from a really holistic perspective, hopefully. So what I really, really, really encourage you to do is try to find objective data about the human body and pain, and then assign a new meaning for yourself to what you're learning. That feels like a huge piece of the puzzle to me that probably isn't spoken a lot, because everyone has an opinion of why pain happens and, what to do about it, including me. But my opinion of why it happens and what to do about it may actually not be the right way for you, or the right meaning, or the right method, or the right opinion, right? So what I mean when I say try to gather as much objective data as you can is there is a lot of science out there that you can learn about how the body functions. There's also some fringe stuff that's becoming more mainstream and more talked about it that shows you the overlapping nature of physical pain with emotional and psychological pain and spiritual pain even. And so you can kind of see that going on a quest for one of these things might lead you to the others, but it's important, I think, that we all start where we are and start with what's right in front of us. And if it's physical pain, start there with the physical body. If it's emotional or psychological pain, then I encourage you to look at, emotional science in human beings and psychology, and maybe study a little bit of psychology and neuroscience from the perspective of trauma and emotions, if that's what really has your attention. And if it's something like spiritual pain, this feels like a huge topic that I may have no real ground to stand on to teach you about per se. I feel like I do. I just so I'm not trying to throw myself under the bus. I just haven't made a name for myself doing that. I have my own very personal experiences that I could speak from. But some things that come to mind for me, with the topic of spiritual pain, would be reading about personal development from someone who includes a spiritual perspective and not just like an atheist type physical reality perspective to spiritual pain. So whatever resonates for you is probably the best place to start, right? Because there might be certain authors or books out there that you really resonate with that I feel, repulsed by, and vice versa, right? Because we're all different people. We're going to resonate with different things. So I think it's really important that you find what you resonate with and start there. But of course, that spiritual pain also includes, figuring out how to find fulfillment for yourself in life, if that's part of it for you. Or maybe it's something like really existential, like you just want to know why we're here. I share that question and that wondering. And that actually is probably the number one thing I started on when I was 17 and started reading Buddhist philosophy and Native American philosophy. And that's kind of what sent me on all of this, actually. Might have been that first. I don't know. So that's really it. And then the other thing that or that's it for that piece of taking action. The other thing I would really recommend that you do, though, is turn towards the pain and be with it. Be willing to feel it long enough to get whatever message is trying to be delivered to you before you try to eliminate it. And even if your current reality is such that There's not a lot of emotional pain or trauma. You feel really fulfilled in life. You have the right career for you, the right partnership, your family is great, and yes, you have some challenges, but overall you feel pretty good, and you just have like some Achilles tendonitis, for example. I still encourage you to be with the pain long enough to get the message to come through before going into action to eliminate it, because even at the very physical level, you could discover some things about how your body functions and where that Achilles pain or whatever is actually coming from in such a broad and deep way for yourself that you not only can now eliminate it for good, but never feel it again for the rest of your life, or rarely, or even if it does come back, you'll have no fear of it ruining your life or doing whatever the story is you've told about the pain, right? You'll have no fear of that story anymore because you now know how to eliminate it, or at least why it's happening. So, you know, that to me would be the reason to pursue this, even at the very physical level, even if you're not going to make it some, you know, big metaphorical thing about gaining spiritual capacities through turning towards your pain. So 2 things: make the pain your teacher, be with it, feel it, and then take some action towards educating yourself about the physical body, about the emotions and psyche of human beings, and about a spiritual reality that we exist in from whatever perspective you're looking at it through or feel drawn to. That is my recommendation here. And then how far deep you go into this rabbit hole is really up to you. I'm so deep, I can never get out of it now. And I've made it my life and I love it. I find it fascinating. I hope I never stop learning. I'm still a student right now of pain in general, of all these topics, and it's every day is fulfilling to me to an extent, because I love learning and I get to keep learning because I took the red pill and not the blue one. So, yep, I'm going to end as dorky as I started. And please comment below, like, take action and make it known that you are going to do this if it calls to you. I want to create more community on this channel. I want to talk to you guys. I've been getting in there and commenting to everybody lately, and there might reach a time where I can't do that anymore, but right now I can. So if you want to talk to me, then share your comment below this video, share your thoughts on this concept, and also share with me if you'd be willing to become a pain advocate with me, and maybe just consider it. Maybe you're not there yet. If you're not, I totally get it. It took me a long time to, you know, really decide that that was a good thing. But yeah, share your comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.